Hey, Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by nobody except all of the generous listeners we have out there. So if you want to help support the podcast, you can head over to our website, aaapodcast.com/join. You can also go to patreon.com/aaapodcast. Or if you wanted to simply donate, you can go to our homepage on the top, click the donate button, and we can keep bringing you this podcast just the way we want, without any commercials for, let's see, what do people sell? They sell razors, they sell underwear, they sell beauty products, they sell whatever the hell they can because they know that you'll buy it sometime, somewhere, but not here, not on my watch. With your help, we can keep this show ad-free. So, and you'll get 8 extra podcast episodes per month just for you. And now, time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aaapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 569 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. He said the thing. We're bouncing around today. We're feeling good. My name is Mason and I'm Penguin number 2 today, and I'm also feeling good, and hopefully we bring that good vibes over to you. Over there with her coffee conundrum, Penguin number 3, it's Caroline. How's it going?
Hello, I'm doing great. I did indeed bring coffee today. A little bit tired, a little bit dreary outside. Already spilled a little bit of the coffee, but it's all over.
It just be like that sometimes. And
Yes.
and last, but numerically also least, Penguin number 1, Mitsugi, rocking the orange monster. How's it going, my friend?
Ooh, I got an orange monster today. Ooh, I love it. I'm feeling good. Feeling good, excited to talk about some anime today. Glad to have everybody listening. And on a beautiful spring day in Denver, you know, it's amazing how fast the 30 inches of snow melted. It's gone.
Yeah, just like that. Gone. No
It's
problem. No problem. Thank you all for joining us live at Twitch, where we stream every Sunday at 5 p.m. EDT. Checking us out on Facebook, on Discord, all the happening spots. We love it. And we're going to repay you by making your anime addiction so much worse, as we do on the regular.
So bad.
Mitz, is this the last chance for people to submit their Ghibli countdown poll?
It's pretty much the last chance. You guys, those of you that have been just like excessively procrastinating, just get over to our website. You know, there's a banner right through the middle. It says the Ghibli poll. And we're going to be doing our Ghibli episode next week and the following week, where we're going to count down the top 20 Ghibli anime of all time as determined by you, and only you, the listeners. So this is your last shot, you know. So you can go to our Discord and check the announcement section to get a link to the voting, or you can get it on our homepage. But this is truly the last chance to do it. So
Also, speaking of last chances, is it also the last chance to participate in the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation fundraiser that we're doing?
It
Or
is.
that done?
It is. But by the time that this episode comes out on iTunes and everywhere else, it'll be over. But for those of you watching live, if you're feeling like you would like to help out people with cystic fibrosis, of course you can always contribute, and we will still donate 50% of everything to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So of course that is still in effect. Also, I was lucky enough to go on another anime podcast this last week. Mitsugi was a guest on the latest episode of Anime Summit, in which we went through a tournament bracket of famed sports characters in honor of March Madness. So if you head over to Anime Summit, you'll be able to listen to me just being a total fucking wild man over there on that podcast. So it was a lot of fun. And if you want to find out who we thought the number one sports anime character of all time was, you'll want to listen. And if you want to see how far Chihayafudu made it in the bracket, you'll want to check that out. and
Oh
you
no.
You're so
and
rude, Mitsuki.
you won't believe how far Haikyuu made it in the bracket. So, well,
So much
you have to
teasing.
check all that shit out over at Anime Summit, and we'll be having another guest on this podcast here in 2 weeks, I believe. So, the name of which is still a secret, but we will have another guest coming on the podcast soon for you. So,
Nice. Well, in this episode today, our topic is going to be Spring 21 selections. Believe it or not, next season is upon us, and we're going to pick our shows that we're going to be doing impressions on, followed by our review of Yashahime Princess Half Demon, the long anticipated sequel to Inuyasha. So we have a stacked episode ahead of us. Anything else before we kick this puppy off?
I'm good.
not really. Let's go.
Hit it.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
So big.
So big. My big
Super.
news, actually not that big, but it's an excuse to talk about a show that I just have been gushing about for weeks now. But my news is that Wit Studio has established a stop motion studio. Wit Studio, the runner up for our best studio of 2020, known for doing Great Pretender, Vinland Saga, and the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, have established a stop motion studio. And they recently released a 1-minute short PV entitled Candy Carries that kind of fuses stop motion with 2D animation and my personal favorite thing, dental hygiene. And right now they're hiring for this news. Yeah, it's like a tooth fairy and it gets a cavity. It's sweet. It's whatever. It's a little music video. But essentially they have started up the studio to quote unquote meet new video needs. And I'm very interested to see if Wit Studio, which is known for little ambitious and innovative techniques, if they're going to start seeing and we're going to start fusing this new stop motion thing in their normal anime. So I'd be super interested in seeing how they bring that about. We've seen it a little bit with shows like Madoka Magica and things like that, where we get an extra component and layer to really jazz things up. And I'd love to see it often. And I 100% know that this new studio will be a success because it has been established with Tomoki Misato, who is the director and screenwriter of the best show of 2021,
Oh,
which is PuiPui Molcar, which I have been
what?
all in every single week. Molcar Mondays has been like the highlight of my year so far.
Did you say
And it's
mole,
like,
mole car? Like the
Yeah.
That's a
animal
lie.
mole?
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I really don't know what that is.
it's like a guinea pig. It's like the Japanese word for guinea pig, molcar, and it's these like felt, cute, stop motion, like 3-minute long videos. You can find them all on YouTube, and they have the most adorable sound effects, and they're amazing. Episode 3 highlight: this guy is roped into this criminal gang and underbelly, and he is apprehended by the cops. Oh, it's a treat. Watch it, and it's just this is my excuse to talk about that show and say it's really good. So please watch it.
But Mason, 2021 just started. How do you know that there's not a great anime coming out next season or the season after this one?
Yeah, who knows when the sequel is going to happen? If they hit us this year, it'll be the best anime again. But
No, not the sequel to Molcar. Get out of here.
You know what? He could be Odin, like the day the day I became a god or something. So
Exactly.
he already knows
I know.
But
I know what they got going on.
this is going to be the best of the year.
Exactly. That's all I had.
Wow. Well, that's enough, I would say.
So, shall I move on to mine?
Caroline, you're up.
Okay, so Comic-Con International plans a 3-day in-person event over Thanksgiving weekend this year. So, let's see how long this will last. I hope it'll actually happen, but you never know with this day and age of the coronavirus. You never know what's going to happen.
God.
But yeah, so they revealed that they plan to host an in-person event on November 26th to the 28th at the San Diego Convention Center. The announcement stated that the event will be called Comic-Con Special Edition. They mentioned that it's their hope that by fall conditions will permit larger public gatherings. But yeah, they will be calling this a smaller alternative 3-day in-person convention in San Diego. So it's probably not going to be as big as they normally would, but still, I'm sure it will have several hundred people. going there. They had originally planned the physical event for July, but in July they instead will have a 3-day Comic-Con at home virtual event. So they have a couple ideas going on there.
We'll
Well
see.
then.
We'll see.
Yep, we'll see.
I'm so over it. I almost had I almost like I just started yesterday. I picked up a Domino's pizza and I still couldn't go into the goddamn lobby, and I almost fucking lost it. I was just so irritated. I'm so done with all of it.
We're almost there. We're almost there, my friend.
Every elderly person in Colorado is vaccinated, and I still can't go inside of Domino's. Mason,
What elderly people are going to Domino's though? Like
none.
I feel like their demographic is young enough where everyone there is still unvaccinated.
Carry me to the finish line, Mason. I need some crutches.
We'll get there. Caroline, chat wants to know, what kind of coffee are you drinking?
Oh yes, I was just about to solve the mystery in the chat. It is a pretty basic medium roast coffee with a bit of sugar and some French vanilla creamer.
Do not sell yourself short. Okay, we all know better.
I mean, it is delicious.
She's flexing her coffee chops. Okay. Yeah.
There you go, chat. Now you know. I think we just got to keep on moving right along because our main topic is a doozy, and it is.
I'm not really sure, Mason. I kind of want to know what blend it is. Like downstairs, I have Colombian Supremo downstairs. So like what are you drinking, Caroline? Like what actual kind of coffee is it?
It is a Dunkin' Donuts K-Cup. I honestly could not tell you anything more than that.
A likely story.
Oh, do you want to do an investigation on my coffee?
I was interested, but if you don't really know, then that's fine. We can move. We can
yeah.
move,
Well,
we can move
it's
on.
really just a basic roast with French vanilla creamer.
I do that. Oh, so just as another side note, so we can make this episode super long.
Oh, right.
I was at King Super the other day, and I bought some Fruity Pebbles creamer. Okay, because it's like you see things on the shelf, and you're like, "Oh, I want to try that." I'm like the sucker for the new stuff. It's always like, "Oh, what does like Sonic have this week? That's like different and weird." Oh, and what kind of weird cookies can I find at the grocery store? So I see like the newest creamer, and I'm like, "Oh, Fruity Pebbles creamer. Look, it's got like Barney Rubble and Fred on the front, and it's all red,
What
and I can't
color
resist.
is that?
What
color would the creamer be? Is it still white?
It's still white, but
oh, what a
it's-
letdown!
It should
Yo,
have
listen.
been like a funfetti coloring.
listen to me. It tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles to the extent that it's comical. I mean, it is. If you closed your eyes and tasted it, any human being could tell you exactly what you were tasting. It is so hilarious.
Cavities. You're tasting cavities.
You are. It's got 5 grams of sugar for 15 milliliters, and I'll tell you right now, 15 milliliters is not a lot. So this can of Monster's 473 milliliters. So do the math. That's 30 times 5. That's 100. It would be 150 grams of sugar if it filled my thing of Monster. So that's like 3 times as sugary as Coke. But man, it's good. Anyway, sorry. I just like coffee a lot.
Are you on a coffee kick, like abnormally so, or
No,
just?
no, I'm not. But like when I go to a breakfast, there's a breakfast place across the street from me, and I will go to this specific breakfast spot because when I order a coffee, they bring you the fucking pot of coffee in like the little metal thermos thing, and they stick it on my table. Because there's nothing worse than going to a breakfast place and going like if I go to Waffle House, I order a coffee. It's like $2.35 for a coffee or whatever. And it's like you only get a refill if the waitress happens to come by when you're finished with your coffee. And you finish your whole meal, you maybe get 2 cups of coffee because they're busy, right? And that's fucking bullshit because I spent $2.35 on a cup of coffee. And I don't want to have to scream across the restaurant every 5 seconds, "I need more coffee, more coffee." Bring me the fucking pot of coffee and stick it on my table because I want to drink 6 cups of coffee with breakfast. That's what I'm talking about. That's the fucking jam. And
That's the tea.
it still costs $2.35. So that's what I'm saying. Like bring the pot, bring the creamers, put them there, and when I want more coffee, I'll pour it myself. Boom, done. End of story. And now we can go to the main topic.
Because that was definitely a necessary conversation.
It was. Sometimes you just gotta let it loose.
Sometimes if I don't let it loose, I might burst. Okay, and you guys don't want to see.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
a bursting Mitsugi is smelly. You don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
But
I
what
I'll
we
pass.
do want, is our spring 2020, I can't even speak today. Anime selections. We've each rigorously gone through all the shows that are coming this season. We've marked down the ones we think are the best of the best, and we're going to share our predictions. And these are the shows that we will be doing our impressions on starting in a couple of weeks. So I think we have quite some interesting picks here.
Mhm.
We'll work our way from our least anticipated to most anticipated, each giving a quick blurb on the show and why we think it'll be a winner. So, who wants to start us off?
I'm fine going first, and let me just say that this season is loaded. It's a lot like last season. It doesn't have quite as many sequels in it, but there's still like a lot of good-looking shit. This is going to be another season where ultimately we're going to end up failing things that we wanted to watch because like I already want to I already want to pass 5 shows or something like that. I can't. So it's really going to be you guys listening that are going to carry us over the finish line with these selections because we're leaving it up to you to make the right choices. At the end of the day here. So, also, my girlfriend Pancake recorded a clip for each show, just like last time. They are very vulgar clips, so we're gonna have to play a guessing game to see how many f bombs were dropped during the course of various of these clips. But my first pick is it was my number 10 my number 10 choice, so it wasn't that far close to the top of the list here. But it's Sestiv's The Roman Fighter. And I'm a sucker for like Gladiator. The movie Gladiator is so good. So I love all these like fighting pit shows, movies. Sestiv is in 54 AD, which is a long ass time ago. Cestus, a young boy orphaned by the Roman Empire and made a slave, is placed into a training school for pugilists, which is basically like boxers. It is here that he begins his journey to defy fate and fight for his own freedom, which is the fucking plot of Gladiator. It is. It's the fucking plot of Gladiator. Bandai Namco is the studio, and the director is Toshifumi Kawase, who worked on Higurashi no Naku ni Kaku and Tenjo Tenge. Now, I watched the PV, and I really think that the premise is really interesting here, but the execution doesn't seem like it's not a guaranteed success as far as execution is concerned. I made a note that like I think people will hate this anime because it's CG and not especially good CG. As far as I can tell, there's like 1 or 2 studios that do CG well, and this is an all CG anime, and every time it's not like Polygon Pictures, or like notable other exceptions.
Orange.
Yeah, like it's just not looking good. And this is Bandai Namco, who to my knowledge isn't known for doing great CG. And so I just don't think anybody will watch this anime. It could be really cool. We'll see. I love the concept, but ultimately we'll have to see how the CG pans out. I noticed that like at least one person on Discord or on Twitch already said the CG looks rough. So I'm gonna keep playing these clips from Pancake, and if we keep liking these clips, I'll keep bringing them, and if people decide they don't like them, we won't do them anymore. But here's the clip. Brace yourself.
I mean, the premise seems cool, but it looks about as good as Berserk.
She's right. Actually,
That's so harsh.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, my chicken tendies. Ooh, ow, oof, my bones.
that's the new Berserk too. It's yeah. Anyway, that's Cestus the Roman Fighter. I hope it's good, but I don't expect the CG. The CG is pretty bad. So
Excellent. Caroline, you want to go next? And we'll just go in
Sure.
that order.
Sure. I would just like to point out that I got the lowest of the dice of the rolls, but I got my top 8, and you guys got your top 10.
You got the best roll.
Oh, I thought the
we roll-
higher
we
the
ro-
number, the last you got picked.
No, we roll a d20, and whoever gets the best closest to 20 gets their first dibs. So Mitch
Oh,
rolled.
okay.
He got a 2. This is inside baseball. He got a 2.
mhm.
I got a 3. So
Yeah.
bottom tier picks. Caroline could have got pretty much any number and she would have been golden. And she decides to squander and waste her good mojo on a roll 19. and just
Mm.
go above and beyond obliterating us. So she got pretty much all her best picks. And what was the worst of those?
It's unkind.
Right. So that would be Seijo no Marioko wa Bano desu, which is the saint's magic power is omnipotent. So this is an isekai, if you could not have guessed already. But it looks overall decent. It looks nice. We'll see what happens with it. It is about a 20-year-old office worker who is what? Whisked away into a whole another world. What?
Oh no, it's an isekai.
Yeah.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Indeed, she is not. So this 20-year-old office worker ends up in this other world. This is a ritual was meant to summon her as a saint who would be able to banish the dark magic of this world. But actually, two people were taken over instead of one. So everyone is apparently preferring the second girl over our main character, Sei. I don't know why, but that's just what the synopsis says. But this is all fine with Sei. She leaves the royal palace and starts a new business with her newfound magical powers and all that. And business is going pretty good. She's happy. But she's still technically possibly a saint. So we'll see what shenanigans come out from that. It's also listed as a fantasy romance. So
Ooh.
might be decent. I mean, yeah, it's another isekai, but honestly, the promotional art looks pretty. And at least it's a female protagonist. And I feel like female protagonists like have a better isekai than male protagonists, because then it just turns into a hentai or not hentai, harem.
Oh yeah,
most of the time.
we know what Caroline's
Sometimes
thinking about.
hentai.
Oh yeah, Freudian slip.
All the best ones turn into hentai, my guys.
I would decline that, but to each their own. Yeah, so it might be pretty decent, and I'll take that as my bottom tier choice.
Okay.
There we go. I think we need like a low effort drop that's like, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Nihongo anymore. Like just like poorly like spliced in there.
That would be funny.
My low pick, but still on the list, is my number 10, and it is Ijuranaide Nagatoro-san, or Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. And this tells the story of Nagatoro, who's a freshman in high school and loves teasing and bullying her introverted male classmate, who she calls Senpai because she is too bothered to learn his name. And she just seems to take pleasure from this and goes out of her way to track him down, and when he's often just like minding his own business, and just begins to ruin his day. She refers to him as her prey. She brings down his confidence. She accuses him of being a pervert. She's just a big meanie.
Damn.
And if you've seen Teasing Master Takagi-san, which this series is often compared to, it's likely going to be in the same vein as that, except completely one-sided. And will the plot develop where we learn that maybe Nagatoro is simply messing with Senpai out of maybe good intentions or out of a place of love? We will need to watch to find out. So listeners of this podcast know that I'm very apt to dislike the show. I am an anti-bully ranger of the no bully movement. I just really dislike the dynamic they bring to like social situations, particularly when it's the foundation of a romance. But honestly, this show will be incredibly popular, with Nagatoro's like snaring face and jeering voice like showing up on every anime message board. So there's going to be no escaping this show this season. So chalk it up to morbid curiosity. This is done by Telecom Animation Film. They did Tower of God and the Lupin franchise. And the PV looks pretty typical for this kind of anime, and it will be airing on Crunchyroll. So that's Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
I'm a big asshole, so I didn't even bother to like look up where my anime are debuting. So, although I think at least a couple of mine are on Netflix. So,
many of these haven't been announced where they're going to be airing yet. So,
got it. Okay, well, my next pick is, let's see, how far down did I have to go? Number 8 overall. So, again, not one of my top picks, but I think this one's really interesting. It's this show from Wit Studio called Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. The only thing about this anime that gives me pause is that the plot synopsis is kind of bizarre and hard to follow. But it's about an artificial intelligence theme park where that was created as the first ever autonomous, where the first ever humanoid autonomous robot Vivi acts as an AI cast member for the park, I guess, and to make people happy and sing and whatever. And then one day, an AI named Matsumoto appears before her and explains that he has traveled over 100 years into the future with the mission to correct history with Vivi and prevent a war between artificial intelligence and humanity that is set to take place 100 years later. So it's the story of they say, quote unquote, AI destroying AI. AI diva Vivi's 100-year journey begins. So it's a Wit Studio. The director is Izaki Shinpei of Hanebado, and the trailer looks more or less stunning. I would say, like, visually, it's stunning. It looks beautiful. It has very beautiful coloration. Sometimes you just see an anime and it just like the colors just like do it for you. Like Shinkai is really good at like coloration. Like, ooh, the sky just looks gorgeous, or like the reflection of like sunlight on water, stuff like that. So this anime has a little bit of that going on. It looks really good. The animation looks good. It looks like it might have touches of CG in it. Like, it's some of the robot type stuff in it looks like it could be done in CG. It is an original anime. The trailer definitely had a lot of action in it, and to be honest, a lot of killing, which is more than I thought it would have. But I guess so. It has this premise of like being about a theme park, but then like I have this feeling that like that's not really what this anime is about. So this plot synopsis that's going around is kind of bullshit, I think, because there's not a whole lot of like happy-go-lucky theme park crap going on in this anime's trailer. It's a lot of like fast-paced action, Vivi flying around, people getting killed, some Ghost in the Shell looking type crap going on. We're gonna have to see. I'm interested in this one. It's certainly carries more uncertainty and more, let's say, has a higher ceiling than most of the shows, I think, this season, particularly given that it's original. But what did Pancake think?
Looks like there's killing. I always like when people die, so. And I haven't had boobs bouncing in my face yet, so that's promising. If you have to draw me in with boobs, I know that you have a dog shit story. When you're just showing me staircases and robots, I'm in.
Staircases and robots.
Honestly,
that's all we need.
Retweet so many times.
So, poor Pancake had to watch the How to Not Summon a Demon Lord trailer this weekend, and it was a trying time. Anyway, so that's about all I got. Next.
Okay, so number 7 on my list is something that was initially taken off because Mitsuki thought it was season 3 of the Slime anime.
Sorry.
But it's not. It's just another title with slime in it. It's called Slime Taoshite 300 Nen Shiranai Uchi ni Level Max ni Nate Mashita.
Jesus.
And yes, this is an isekai, and I believe it is also from a light novel, so that makes so much
Toto?
sense.
I have a feeling we're not in
Another
Kansas
isekai,
anymore.
really?
Yes.
Well,
But
all
they're
right.
both at the bottom of my list, so just make it
fair
clear.
enough. Fair enough.
But I probably shouldn't even try to defend myself. It kind of looks interesting. So in English, that title would be, I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level slime, and then that's the end of it. I was just reading something else. Okay. Yes. So it is an isekai. Basically the same first sentence from that other isekai. Suddenly dying from overwork, a salary woman is reincarnated into another world as an immortal witch. She spends her days killing slimes for money, but is otherwise on an eternal vacation because this is all she really wants. She just wants to relax.
Me too.
But since she is immortal, 300 years of just killing slimes passes. And even though she's doing the bare minimum, she becomes, after 300 years, you become the most powerful being on the planet. But she's fearing that her strong abilities will attract, work and, people wanting to fight her all the time and that kind of stuff. So she tries to hide her strength in order to preserve her peaceful lifestyle. But despite that, she becomes known as the Witch of the Plateau across the land, and meets a dragon who fights her, and they become friends. And I guess that's pretty much how the story goes. It seems really simple. To be honest, I probably should have put this lower than the Saint one, But either way, it's a comedy. It might be fun. We'll see what happens.
It sounds a lot like Cautious Hero, doesn't it? Like, and by the way,
Yeah.
I really liked Cautious Hero. By the way, waiting for the sequel, please, thank you. Because it's like he beats up on like little. He's like so cautious that he just wants to fight like weak stuff initially, and he gets his level to like super high before he does anything for real. And he's lazy as fuck too. Oh my god, is this Cautious Hero, the sequel?
It's Cautious Hero plus slime because when Caroline said meets a dragon, becomes friends, that's exactly how slime begins too, I
Oh
think.
my
So
god.
Oh my god, yes. I forgot. But the girl's cute. She seems nice.
Well, that's
so
all that matters.
we're going forward with this.
Excellent.
All right. Keep the isekais coming. They're never going to stop. People love them. Mason, you're up.
My next one is Odd Taxi, which tells the story
What
of
the
a
fuck?
41-year-old. Oh my goodness, when do we get characters this old in anime? They're
Not-
usually isekai by now.
Not Crazy Taxi or Odd Taxi?
Odd Taxi, yeah, it's the low budget ripoff. 41-year-old taxi driver Odokawa lives a very mundane life. He has no family, and he really doesn't hang out with anyone else. He's an oddball who doesn't talk much, and he really only calls friends, which are his high school classmate and his doctor. He obviously drives a taxi, and a lot of the people he drives around seem to be kind of odd themselves. He just kind of has conversations with them, and I guess one day that leads him to finding a girl who has gone missing or something like that. I'm not too sure. This is a original work, so a lot of this is speculation. The big, I guess, crux of this is that, like your Beastars or your Gretzkos or your Brand New Animals or your Africa Salarymans, all the characters in this world are different animals. And I feel like it's very easy to group those shows like in one big collective genre because of that. But based on the PV, I'm guessing that Odd Taxi is going to be a bit more tame, if you will, and closer to the Gretzko style of delivery with a more somber plot, a little more mature characters, and less like. I don't think the fact that they are animals will have a role with anything. I think they could have easily been humans, and it's just the look and design that they're going for. So this is done by OLM Studio, who has done Card Fight Vanguard, the Major series, and King's Raid. So this is all once again on Crunchyroll, and I'm just a sucker for originals, and who knows what we're going to get out of this thing. Hopefully it's as odd as the title suggests.
Well then.
I'm
interested in that one, to be honest. I knew you wanted it, Mason, so I didn't take it, but
But
I was interested also. All right. Here we go. We're getting to the good stuff here. This next pick of mine was my number 6 choice. So, and I mostly picked this because I know it's popular and it was probably going to get picked anyway through the listener choice, let's be honest. I think this is like the last season of this had like 500,000 people watched it on Mal, so I know it's going to get picked one way or the other. We're going to end up watching this. And that is How to Not Summon a Demon Lord Season 2. I don't even remember the original story of this. This came out like a year or 2 years ago maybe, and it's basically like, if I recall, what the fuck was the original one about? The two girls, like a hot busty elf chick and a cat girl, like summon this demon lord guy, and he's like super just epically powerful. And I guess it's probably an isekai. This was an isekai, wasn't it? I can't remember. Fucking I can't remember. But
I don't think I've ever seen this.
All I know is there's 3 things I know about this anime. One is that it's done by Tezuka Productions. 2 is that it's directed by Satoshi Kuwahara of Quintessential Quintuplets, which means that both the director and studio have changed since the first season. And number 3 is that there's boobs. A lot of boobs. Like, the whole trailer was boobs. All of it.
I'm guessing Pancake watched this trailer before the last one.
She did. And she loved this trailer. A lot. I mean, the first season was pretty much titties too. I mean, I think, as I recall, there was a scene where like they were almost fucking in the first season of this. The elf girl was like riding him dry, you know. It was pretty sexual anime, but you know, whatever. So I don't know. Fans of the first season of this are probably gonna love the second season, you know. But also, honestly, it's gonna be another one of those like magic shows where it has plenty of fan service. And the main character is like this mage that's like it's like in the vein of Overlord or the Misfit of Demon King Academy. Like the main character is just so OP that like he can't be stopped. Anyway, what did Pancake think about this one?
It wasn't even 5 seconds. We got big bouncing tits in my face. Definitely watching that. Oh, and we got a flat chest. Perfect. Everybody gets what they want. You want to have a little flat-chested person? There you go. You want titties that literally could not exist? Got that too. All right, we're good.
There you go.
I'm living for her play-by-play.
You got a little bit of everything for everybody in this one.
You know what? I feel like instead of just having the aftermath of watching the PV, you should just have her watch the PV and give a play-by-play of what is happening as she's watching it.
That's what she's doing. There's
yeah, really?
Oh yeah, there's actually like 2 minutes of audio for each of these. I just can't play 2 minutes of audio. So I find the funniest or the most vulgar like 12 seconds and play that. So just so you know.
I see.
This is the highlight, the supercuts.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm done. That was it. That was my third pick.
All right. So number 6 on my list, third overall. It is Goku Shufudo, which is the Way of the House Husband. Very anticipated show that was coming out. And if you haven't heard about it before, it is basically this legendary Yakuza guy, really well known amongst the entirety of Japan, I guess. He is known for his, striking fear in the hearts of all. But he has a sudden disappearance and resurfaces as a loving husband and father. So, he is a father, right? Or is he? I can't remember.
I don't
actually
think, maybe not yet, but
okay.
I don't believe so.
Least, he is a stay-at-home husband. And, funny things erupt from that when he meets up with, old people, people from his past and, trying to get through his job as, the stay-at-home husband with, the attitude of a Yakuza guy. So a lot of people were looking forward to this one. And while there was some disappointment with the trailers because there wasn't exactly animation in it, we got to try it out. So we're going to see what happens with it.
Crazy.
It looks rough.
It does look rough, but, maybe looks can be deceiving. We also thought that Beastars was going to look rough.
That's very true. And everyone wants this show to do well because this is such a beloved manga.
Yeah. And that's basically it.
Yep.
This next one, this is going to go really quick. My number 5 pick was Zombieland Saga Revenge. This is a story about a group of girls who come back from the dead to become idols, and they're zombies, and they're there to save the Saga Prefecture. And that's, I think, all the plot you really need to sell the show to someone. It is one of my favorite takes on the idol genre with its like brazen energy and over the top, go for it comedy style. Go watch season 1 if you haven't. And if you have, you know why I'm excited for season 2, which I don't believe this podcast ever covered. It kind of slipped through the cracks back in the day. So, did I mention it's done by Studio Mappa? So you know it's going to be fire.
Oh, yeah.
Just go watch it, people, and you'll know if it's for you or not. And if you did like it, well, the season 2 is here, and that's why we're hyped. So this is actually on Crunchyroll and Funimation, so it's going to be everywhere. People are going to be talking about it. This show can't be stopped by a mere truck-coon like other shows, so it's a good time. So that's all I got.
All right. Next up for me is, we're getting pretty high on my list now because I got my top 4 in a row here. So my number 4 on my list is my next pick, Shakunetsu Kabaddi, which is probably the sports anime of the season. Mason's dancing around. Synopsis: first-year high schooler Tatsuya Yoigoshi, the former ace of a junior high school soccer team, has come to dislike sports and receives an invitation to join the Kabaddi Club. Initially mocking the idea of Kabaddi, he takes an interest after watching an intense competition akin to martial arts at a practice session. This is done by TMS Entertainment. The director is Kazuya Ichikawa of Monster Strike and The World Ends With You, and I'd note that he's directing two things this season, which is probably not all that ideal. But to me, like, the PV looks like a hot-blooded sports anime with muscly men in it. So I'm also in this anime. There's a picture in the show notes of one of the main characters, like this bald guy. He's basically me.
That's you. That's you, though.
And I don't know, like in the PV, they talk about how kabaddi was like a sport that was originated from like hunting wildlife or boars or some shit. Like people would go out and like wrestle bears or wild boar or something. And like I guess the sport is, I don't know jack shit about kabaddi. I put a link in here on the show notes here that I never read. It's a contact team sport played between two teams of 7 players. The objective of the game is for a single player on offense, referred to as a raider, to run into the opposing team's half of the court, tag as many of their defenders as possible, and return to their own half of the court, all without being tackled by the defenders in a single breath.
Yeah, the dance I was doing was the kabaddi shuffle, which is just whenever I've seen kabaddi brought up in anime, they're doing this like side to side movement.
Players are taken out of the game if they are tagged or tackled, but are brought back in for each point scored by their team from a tag or tackle. It's popular in the Indian subcontinent and other surrounding Asian countries. So it's like I don't know, it's like you're tackling each other. So like the anime could be like pretty cool. I mean, it's not going to be like it's not a sport it's an aggressive sport, so it could have a lot of good action in it. I like a sports anime. We'll see. I thought the animation in the trailer though kind of looked kind of shitty, but what did Pancake think?
Kabaddi. Boys running and tackling each other. Football without the ball. Got it.
It's what it looks
like.
How
she defaulted to that and not like wrestling.
So kabaddi. So Shaku Netsu Kabaddi. I'm looking forward to seeing what this one's all about.
All right. So next up on my list is number 4 to be exact. It is called Subara Shiki Kono Sekai, the animation, and also known as The World Ends With You, the animation. So this is actually based on a game that I've never heard of, but it has a very strong following. A lot of people are excited for an anime of this game. So it looks really interesting. A lot of fun colors involved here. It honestly kind of looks like an animation based on the style of Danganronpa. So it looks pretty cool. And it actually, animates decently from the look of the trailer. So it is about this guy. His name is Neku. He awakens in the middle of Shibuya with no memory of how he got there. Little does he know he's been transported to an alternate plane called the Underground. He's now the unwilling participant in the mysterious Reapers game, and he must partner up with a girl named Shiki in order to survive. And together they must complete missions, defeat monsters, and gradually uncover the true nature of the game. So, we've had similar anime to this, but it could be pretty fun, and the trailer looked really good. So, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, The World Ends With You. What was it, like a DS game, or 3DS, like back in the day? Yeah.
It was 2007, and it's coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, a remaster this summer, which is probably why the anime is coming out now to be like, remember this game you loved when you were a kid? You can get it remastered now for money that you will pay us, the company.
It's all about that. It's all about that cash.
Exactly. This is a big commercial, but it'll probably be good.
All right, Mason, what you got?
At the very least, it has style.
Exactly. It does have that going for it. My next pick is another very popular one, which is just simply called 86 with numbers. Tells the story of the Republic of San Magnolia that has been under attack from the neighboring Gideon's Empire army, which is full of unmanned drones known as the Legion. And after years of research, the Republic finally developed their own autonomous drones, which kind of turns this war into one without casualties, because you have all these just robots fighting one another. But in the Republic, there's these fortified walls a la, I don't know, I guess Attack on Titan, and there's like 85 Republic territories within them. But there is one that lies outside the wall, which is the quote-unquote non-existent 86th sector. And the men and women who are born in the sector are kind of not even determined like citizens or humans, and those are the people that are put into these quote unquote unmanned weapon drones and sent off into battle. So it is probably the story of this ragtag group of fighters in this war, done by A1 Pictures, who did Kaguya-sama Love is War, Warlords of Sigdrifa, which I'm just realizing, what's with all the war theme with A1 Pictures? But I'm guessing it's more similar to Sigdrifa based on the PV. It looks pretty promising. And there's a lot of faith. Go ahead.
I didn't think people liked war stuff. Like, why keep with it? You know.
I don't know. This is a light novel that has a ton of like support for it. People are amped. It's already been like greenlit for, I guess, or planned at least for having 2 seasons worth or 2 quarters of content. So it seems to have a lot of like faith and like promise behind it. So I don't know. People are just really feeling good about it. I think the aesthetic is pretty solid, and I know next to nothing going in. I've tried to look up as little as possible so that I can get the experience fresh and new and see how well it holds up and not living up to what I think it will be. So that's 86. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know where it's streaming, but that's my number 4 pick.
It's got a fucking terrible title.
I thought it was also pretty interesting. I have it at like number 9 on my list. So yeah, but I didn't get higher because I'm not really big on war anime. It just doesn't really interest me as much, so I didn't put it as high. But I also thought it was interesting that it's from a light novel and actually has a very short title, just the number 86. So
it's not 74 syllables long.
Well then. All right, so the next anime here on my list was my number 3, my third choice overall, and it's Godzilla SP. The series features an original story which depicts the young geniuses Mei Kamino and female researcher Yoon Arikawa, a male engineer, as they take on an unprecedented threat with their companions. When danger comes up from the depths, only young geniuses Mei, Yoon, and their team can face the threat in Godzilla Singular Point. So the SP stands for Singular Point. And I am a big Godzilla fan. You know, I grew up on Godzilla. I watched the Godzilla cartoon, as we know, and I watched most of the movies. And Godzilla is very hit or miss. You know, there's Godzilla movies that are fucking awesome. There's Godzilla movies that are terrible. There's like that 2000 Godzilla movie where like Godzilla was laying eggs and shit. That movie was atrocious. But like the last Godzilla movie was pretty good.
As of this recording, because in 2 days Godzilla vs. Kong comes out, and we don't know how that will be.
I should think that already came out. I think it came out last week.
I thought it came out 30th.
I don't know, but I can't wait to go to our dinner theater again where we get the free popcorn. It's done by Studio Bones, which is generally a good thing, and the director is Atsushi Takahashi of Ride Back, which is a pretty cool anime as well. I would say that everything in this trailer looks awesome, except some of the monsters are CG and they look fucking terrible. Like Godzilla and some of the monsters, they look like they hired like a bunch of fucking people off Fiverr to make CG. It looks horrendous. So, but like the character designs are really cool. They look great. Some of like the robots that they have in the anime that are like in the trailer for, I don't know why they're in there, but they're fucking around with some robots. Like they look cool. The backgrounds look cool. Everything looks really great, except the CG of some of the monsters looks like ass. So I don't know. It's hit or miss. I'm not sure how good this one will be, but this is definitely one of the Netflix shows. So you can check it out on Netflix. This one might already be out, actually. Let me see here. The release date for this one was, the 25th of March. So this one's already out. It's probably on Netflix right now. now.
I just checked. It wasn't out.
Oh, okay. Well, it says the release date was the 25th, so somewhere. Netflix is late. So it'll be out soon. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of like anime with CG, and they just don't look good. I'm just gonna tell you right now that if the anime industry is gonna be like pivoting to all this CG crap, you better learn how to fucking do it properly, because it looks like shit. So someone needs to like learn from Polygon Pictures and make some decent looking CG if that's the direction we're heading. But what did Pancake think?
So the robots don't look bad as CG, but the monsters look like dog shit, like hot fire dog shit. Okay, so play a badass song with your shitty ass CG monsters. Go right ahead. Godzilla, the worst CG anime of all time.
Is that the subtitle?
That's what the SP stands for. Singular piece of terrible CG. I will say the CG, I feel like we've said that word like 1,000 times the last 20 seconds. The CG Godzilla movies, the trilogy that came out the past couple years, those are really good, and I highly recommend them.
Okay. Well, I believe that Caroline's
Alright.
up.
Yes, number 3 on my list is Nomad Megalobox. So this is the second season of Megalobox, and we were not expecting it to have a second season, I think, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Nobody asked for it.
Nobody did. But it was a really big show. I think it was back in 2019, 2018?
Something like that.
Something like that, yes. But it is, if you're not aware of what Megalobox is about, it is basically in this world where boxing is kind of being taken over by mechanized suits. So they make your punches more powerful. And it followed the story of the guy known as Gearless Joe, who was trying to climb the ranks of Megalobox without the use of a mechanized suit. Yes, and by the end of that series, a lot of people praised it for the music. The animation kind of called back to a little more of a classic time. And I think we were all, we all loved that aspect of it. The story, on the other hand, kind of fell through a little bit. But overall, it was good for a little time. It was refreshing, I think. And the ending was a little bit open-ended. We kind of, to be honest with you, we kind of thought that Joe might have died. But apparently he is not, because the sequel, the second season, Nomad, it follows him 7 years later. He's back underground fighting, not necessarily at the top like we left him at the first season. And it's going to follow his story. I really don't know much more of what that story is going to be, but the trailer, it brought back a lot of hype feelings from the first season. So I enjoyed the trailer. So it got pretty high on the list. I definitely wasn't going to place it as high, but then I watched it and I'm just like, ooh, now I'm excited.
I'm
so
getting
of course
the
I had
same
to place it number
vibes.
3. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. At the very least, we're gonna have to talk about it because it was such a big show at the time. So, oh yeah, and he's also in this series known as Nomad, not necessarily Gearless Joe. So, and the promotional art, the title card, it looks so good. It has a really nice style to it. So we're gonna, yeah.
I thought he was at least blind after the last season. I mean, I thought he had like a,
Apparently not.
I don't know, what the fuck.
They
Okay.
easily have like robotic eyes. They could just write that into the story and be like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. Robot eyes. Sure. I'm good with it.
My number 3 pick is Bishonen Tantedan, aka Pretty Boy Detective Club, which is also the plot of the anime as far as I can tell. It's high school mysteries of a club with one girl and 5 pretty gorgeous dudes, and they just go around and they solve mysteries, and I don't know literally shit about fuck besides that, because all I know, it's Studio Shaft with the author of the source material being Nisio Isin, who have done stuff together, like a little show called Monogatari, Kubikiri Cycle, everything amazing. Literally, as soon as I saw who was working on it, I was like, I'm in, I'm done. Like, I don't need to know anything more. I have no idea what it's about, and I'm completely in. No idea where it's streaming. Pretty Boy Detective Club. Give it to me now, please. And
It sounds more like Ouran High School Mystery Club.
yeah, pretty much. I think even the girl like seems to dress in a very masculine way and like tries to hide her features a bit. So you might very well be correct. So
It did look pretty good. I saw the trailer as well, and I think it might have ended up lower on my list. But yeah, it did.
There you go. People, we want it. I want it. Give it to me.
All right. So the next one here, we only have 2 left, is Eden Zero. The synopsis: at Grand Bell Kingdom, an abandoned amusement park, Shiki has lived his entire life among machines, but one day Rebecca and her cat companion Happy appear at the park's front gates. Little do these newcomers know that this is the first human contact Granbo has had in 100 years. As Shiki stumbles his way into making new friends, his former neighbors stir at an opportunity for a robo-rebellion. And when his old homeland becomes too dangerous, Shiki must join Rebecca and Happy on their spaceship and escape into the boundless cosmos. Studio is JC Staff. Director is Shinji Ishihara of Fairy Tail and Log Horizon. And honestly, this is from original creator Hiro Mashima, who is the same guy that created Fairy Tail. All the characters look like they're from Fairy Tail. The director had involvement with Fairy Tail, the original one. This is basically Fairy Tail. If you liked, if you like Fairy Tail, this is the anime for you because they all look the same. It has the same feel to it, more or less. Same creator, same everything. You know, it doesn't have the same studio, but so I mean, I'm excited. You know, I never really watched Fairy Tail, but to be honest with you, I never gave it much of a shot actually. And I liked shonen generally, so something tells me had I watched more Fairy Tail, I probably would have gotten into it eventually. And the 3 episodes or whatever I gave it probably wasn't enough. But I'm excited to give this another crack with Eden Zero. Maybe it'll be just as popular as Fairy Tail was. But what did Pancake think?
Yep, already over it. Fucking don't like the fucking main character. He's like one of those main characters that's like, oh, a girl. Fuck, I can't even like be around her. She's got boobs and a vagina. Holy shit. I tried to like Fairy Tail, and I'm not gonna like this either.
So much
I feel like
so much
me
anger.
and Pancake are like the same person, except she's more outspoken.
Very, very outspoken. That's very true. So I'm excited to give it a try. I'm a big shonen fan. So, all right. Who is next? Caroline, you're up.
Me, yes. So my number 2 pick is Joran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. So this, yes. So this is set in an alternate history of Japan in 1931, the 64th year of the Meiji era. The Tokugawa shogunate was never abolished, and Emperor Meiji was never restored to power. And this anime follows the activities of Nue, an organization of shogunate executioners who enforce the government. The country has developed its own energy source known as the Dragon Vein and has achieved a unique development in which science and the Edo period are mixed. However, behind the glamorous city, the dissident organization Kuchinawa strives to overthrow the administration, while the Nue of the Tokugawa regime, who was entrusted with its extermination, are in conflict. And then there's this woman named Sawa Yukimura, whose family was murdered when she was young, and continues to search for Janome, who is the executioner of the Nue. So this is a revenge plot. She looks freaking badass, and the art style looks really pretty. And it seems like it's going to be like a mix of fantasy and normal life. Honestly, it kind of does remind me a bit of Demon Slayer because of the time period and because it kind of mixes that fantasy element with a reality. But yeah, it looks really good, and I'm excited for it.
I didn't watch the PV, but just the art in the like promotional poster, I was just like, yep, I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Yeah.
My number 2 pick is Tokyo Revengers. And it tells the story of Takemichi Hanagaki, who's a freelancer who is in just down in the dumps. He's in the pits of despair, and he finds out one day that the only girlfriend he ever had in his life has been killed by a ruthless gang. The day after hearing about this death, he's standing on like a train station platform, and he gets bumped or jostled out over to the tracks. The train's coming. Right as he expects death, he closes his eyes, and when he opens them, he's 12 years in the past, and he's getting a chance to redo his life. And he decides to not only save the life of his girlfriend, but his own. And I'm expecting a fusion of Steins Gate with Erased, and maybe some like GTO gang fights with like goodness and delinquents.
Yeah.
Like the cover art looks like you got these Yankee boys with their hairdo and just a bunch of like bandages and scars and tough people who are probably good at heart, that kind of swagger. It's done by Linden Films, who did the 2019 version of Blade of the Immortal, and just last season they did Other Side Picnic, Cells at Work Black, and the kid from the last dungeon thing, all in the same season. So they've been churning them out lately. I know this is a highly acclaimed manga, and it seems like a pretty fun story to see. Not like the isekai, but the go back in time. What could you change? What would you change with the knowledge you have now? And those are always sometimes fun, and hopefully it delivers. No idea where it's streaming, but Tokyo Revengers, my number 2 pick.
All right, it's time for the goodest of the good. So, my number 1 pick is Shaman King 2021. Shamans are extraordinary individuals with the ability to communicate with ghosts, spirits, and gods, which are invisible to ordinary people. The Shaman Fight, a prestigious tournament pitting shamans from all over the world against each other, is held every 500 years, where the winner is crowned Shaman King. This title allows the current incumbent to call upon the Great Spirit and shape the world as they see fit. There's a lot more to the synopsis here. I'm not going to read it all. The studio is Studio Bridge, who worked on Fairy Tail, Talentless Nana, Mitsudomoe, a bunch of other stuff. And the director is Joji Furuta, who worked on some Saint Seiya and some of the Deadly Seven Sins anime. Honestly, the PV looks like your fun Saturday morning cartoon shonen romp that we all used to love at one point and still do for the most part. Shaman King was an anime way back in 2001. So 20 years later, Shaman King is coming back. People that watched Shaman King before are, excited to see anything from Shaman King at this point, probably. And I never watched Shaman King back in the day, so I'm excited to get a crack at watching this new one. More shonen, which I love. I love me some shonen. And come on, they got tournament in the description. I mean, so hilarious. So I'm looking forward to some cool tournaments, some cool fights from Shaman King. But what did Pancake think about Shaman King? Where is this clip?
Oh, fuck. I feel like I'm like 6 years old again. Like, I used to watch this on fucking 4Kids and shit. I'm so fucking hype. I'm like, my nipples are hard right now.
There you have it.
That's what happens when you watch Shaman King as a child. You turn out like that. That's
that the only show that she liked that you picked?
She didn't like Eden Zero. She thought Godzilla looked bad. She was unsure about Kabaddi. She didn't like Demon Lord. She thought Vivi looked cool, and she likes the idea of the Roman fighter anime, but it looks like ass. So we were about maybe 30% on the nose. But I'm excited about all of mine. I want to watch them all. So, all right, Caroline, what is your top pick?
My top pick is called Shadow's House. So this is about a group of faceless shadow nobles. So they basically look like black outlines of characters with only their outfits being shown. They live in this vast mansion attended by living dolls who spend much of their time cleaning up the soot endlessly emitted by their mysterious masters. Meanwhile, the dolls look like exact replicas of the shadow outlines, so that's kind of creepy. So you follow the story of this girl named Emiliko, who is a young and cheerful living doll, as she learns her duty serving as the attendant for Kate Shadow-sama. What dangers and dark secrets will she and Kate encounter as they become more deeply involved in the inner workings of the Shadow Society? So I saw a lot of comparisons between this and The Promised Neverland. A lot of them saying, like, this is so much better than The Promised Neverland. And it looks really cool. I have not heard anything about this show until I saw it on the list of shows coming out this season. So, and I was surprised because it does look extremely interesting. So I'm just figured I would have heard about it before. So it ended up being top of my list because, it looks really creepy and cool.
I would have had this higher on my list, but I thought if I don't have it too high, maybe I could sneak it in with a mid pick and everyone's sleeps on it. But no, Caroline was smarter than me. She outwitted me. She outfoxed me. She put her foot down and she claimed it.
Outfoxed, yes.
Exactly.
People are definitely not loving the second season of Promised Neverland, by the way.
Oh, yes. I am fully aware.
Oh, man. There is some fucking...
It was my pick, so...
There is some venom online for Promised Neverland, so...
Yeah, I'm sad about that. But I guess that means I'll just have to read the manga.
All right, last up. Mason, this is it. The grand finale.
Last up. I don't think there's a big surprise going here. For how many months we've been talking and hyping up this show, especially Too Damn Mini, considering this was supposed to come out in winter and it was pushed back now to spring. But finally, we're going to get a chance to talk about Fumetsu no Anata E, or To Your Eternity. This tells the story of a lonely boy wandering the Arctic region of North America when he meets what is most definitely probably likely a wolf. And the two become friends, aka codependent partners, as they travel across the world, kind of trying to survive the harsh environment that they're currently in. And definitely this series is best going into blind. I will just say it's not like a rollicking, toe-tapping, gallivanting journey across the landscape. This is a more philosophical, sombering, sacrificial experience that goes in some wild places. Think of fans of like Kino's Journey kind of thing, where instead of a like motorcade, it's a little wolf boy. But it's probably going to be really darn good. I hope it's really darn good. The manga is excellent. The anime has a lot to adapt. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it, how it's going to look. It's done by Brainspace, who did Inspector, Gakuin Babysitters, and Fukumenki Noise. So they've done some really great stuff. They absolutely killed it with Natsume Yujincho, and I'm hoping for a similar vibe to that, but definitely a little more action based. And it'll be on Crunchyroll, and I'm just not going to say more because I want everyone to go in and just not expect anything but greatness. And once again, this is To Your Eternity, and that's my number one pick.
All right, well, we're running really long, so I'm just going to read through the listeners' top 10 most anticipated shows, of which we have 7 of the 10 already picked. I guess these are in order. So number 10 was The World Ends With You. Number 9 was Joran, The Princess of Snow and Blood. Number 8 was 86. 7 was Zombieland Saga, followed by Shaman King, followed by Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, followed by Way of the House Husband. And the top 3 were To Your Eternity, My Hero Academia Season 5, and Fruits Basket Final Season is the top anime
so
for the listeners.
We hit all of them besides the Fruits Basket sequel and the My Hero sequel, which we're not doing because they're so deep into their runs that fans already have their opinions of them. We've already talked about them before, so you can go back and watch those yourself. But I think we captured a lot of what we think will be great this season. I'm so excited to get to it.
Fuck yeah.
A lot of good stuff this season.
I think impressions will probably start around the 28th, I think is what I think, of April, or 25th. So we'll have to see.
So we have our intro weekly trivia question. In Yashahime Princess Half Demon, what is the signature sword move of Moroha? We will reveal the answer coming up.
Yeah, 25th of April is what I think. So, all right, enjoy the news break. Hey, Anime Addicts, Mitsuki is back, bringing you your anime news, and for this time around, we have lots of new anime announcements, starting with Bandai and Sunrise. Sunrise Beyond and Bandai Spirits, a toy company, are making a new mecha anime titled Kyokai Senki, or Boundary War Machine. It's going to be scheduled for a fall 2021 debut. The synopsis: in the year 2061 AD, Japan has lost its sovereignty. The Japanese people spend their days as oppressed citizens. After being divided and ruled by the 4 major trade factions, the country became the forefront of the world following the development of AMAIM, a humanoid special mobile weapon for each economic bloc. One day, a boy who loves machines, blah, 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 gets involved. If you like mecha anime, look out for Kyokai Senki, Boundary War Machine, coming out in the fall by director Nobuyoshi Habata of Fafner, and also, of course, done by Bandai. So if you're a fan of Gundam and other mecha anime, it definitely looks like a Gundam, so you have to look forward to that. Next up, manga. Meiruko-chan is getting a TV anime adaptation. An adaptation of Tomoki Izumi's manga of the same title was announced by Kadokawa this recently. It's going to be premiering in 2021 as well. Miko is a typical high school student whose life turns upside down when she suddenly starts to see gruesome, hideous monsters. Despite being completely terrified, Miko carries on with her daily life, pretending not to notice the horrors that surround her. She must endure the fear in order to keep herself and her friends out of danger, even if it means coming face to face with the absolute worst. Blending both comedy and horror, the story tells of a girl who tries to deal with the paranormal by acting indifferent towards it. By director Yuki Ogawa of Fully Coolly Progressive and Ishizoku Reviewers in Studio Passione, who recently did the Higurashi no Nakakoro ni Go anime. Next up, even more anime adaptations. Light novel Tsuki no Laika no Nosferatu is getting a TV anime adaptation. Moon, Laika, and the Blood-Sucking Princess is going to be scheduled for 2021's air date, done by Bandai Namco Arts. The synopsis, the first astronaut in human history was a vampire girl. Following the end of World War II, the world divided superpowers, and both countries involved have been competing fiercely for development of space. East History 1960, the chief leader of the Republic announces the manned space flight program named Project Mechtat, which, if successful, will be a first for humankind. If you're a fan of these alternate history type of shows where apparently the first person in space is a vampire girl, look out for this. Moon, Laika, and the Blood-Sucking Princess coming out in 2021 from director Akitoshi Yokoyama of Cutie Honey Universe and Razafon Studio Arvo Animation. And lastly, one final anime coming out. Pine Jam produces Do It Yourself, an anime series original. It's an original work coming to you from Amago and Avex Pictures from director Kazuhiro Yoneda of Akatsuki no Yona, Hozuki no Reitetsu, and others. And of course, Pine Jam worked on Just Because Gamers and more. Do It Yourself follows high school girls working on do-it-yourself projects as they struggle, fail, and yet don't give up to see the projects through to the end. The story depicts the lives of those girls as they take the first step towards the future, quote-unquote. This coming from my anime list. If you're a fan of those sorts of anime, it definitely the artwork looks super cute. It almost reminds me of Disgaea a little bit. Look out for Do It Yourself, an anime original coming from Studio Pine Jam. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break, and now it's time to get back to the podcast right now. Anime Addicts, the AAA podcast, is always trying to bring you new and exciting ways to enjoy our content, and now we have an exclusive member-only RSS feed on the site that is going to let you access our hentai episodes, our Hobby Addicts, and our After Parties episodes, all from your favorite mobile apps. That's an additional 8 episodes of content per month just for you, and you can listen to it through Apple Podcasts app, you can listen to it through Podcast Addicts, Pocket Cast, Overcast FM, Downcast FM, etc., onward and onward. So many mobile apps for you to choose from. If you were holding back on supporting the podcast because you didn't like listening to our extra content through our website, now you can get it and listen to it the same way you enjoy all your other podcasts. So pitch in, help out the podcast, do a good thing, and enjoy all the extra content we have for you. Just go to aaapodcast.com/join, and you will get all this extra content and an exclusive member RSS feed for you to enjoy. That again, that's aaapodcast.com/join, and support the podcast.
Hi, my name is Sonny Strait, voice of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, and I'm an anime addict. Kamehameha, bitches!
Welcome back to the podcast. When we left you, we had a trivia question for you. In Yashahime, half princess, half demon, what is the signature sword move of Moroha? Crimson Dragon Wave. The Red Dragon Destruction, but it'll also be an acceptable answer. But it's Crimson Dragon Wave. How can a mere quarter demon use a Crimson Dragon Wave? Blah, 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 blah.
Don't they know she's the main character?
All right, now we got some hot new releases for you guys because there have been some pretty good new animes announced, so let's get to that.
It's time for hot new anime releases.
All right, first up here on hot new anime releases, Attack on Titan, the final season, continues. So for those of you that are fans of Attack on Titan, rejoice. After the 16th episode, it was announced that the second half of the final season of Attack on Titan will be happening in the winter. So winter, you will get the second. I knew they weren't going to wrap this shit up.
Didn't we call season 4 part 2? Didn't we? Weeks ago,
Either
months
that or a
ago.
movie.
Well, they weren't gonna. They weren't gonna wrap it up because there was just too much going on in the final season with only like 2 episodes to go. So
If they were going to, it would be a very bad, bad idea.
it would be a bad wrap up, kind of like Promised
Yeah,
Neverland.
exactly.
All right,
That's
so,
what I
and so more Attack on Titan coming out in the final season of the final season of the year. I guess winter, or I guess maybe that's winter 2022. But and let's be honest, Attack on Titan is like, it's just a Titan looking down upon all these other peon type anime. Because Attack on Titan, the final season, is just fucking by a mile the best thing that's out right now. So if you haven't if you're not watching Attack on Titan right now,
Well,
you're missing like
you
some
have-
Game of Thrones level shit. So
you have all the anime, just all the plebeian anime, just scurrying around the ground, and above them looms large this massive Attack on Titan franchise. But beyond that, even larger, of colossal god size, is PuiPui Molcar,
Oh, God.
casting a shadow over all of the universe. So levels here.
listen,
I love thinking back to when the first season of Attack on Titan came out, and everybody said, it's just shonen, not that great, totally overhyped kind of thing. And then it pulled back a little bit. And then with these last couple of seasons, it's been like the forefront of like, this is peak anime.
It earned its stripes.
Yes.
Attack on Titan's gonna take his boxers off, pull out his big Titan dick, and just fucking drop it on top of the face of all these other anime and go, look at my big Titan balls. You don't even want my big Titan balls, but boom, here they are. Put Mr. PuiPui Molcar gonna have to see my nutsack as it is descended down upon your face. But somehow
Mitsuki, it's
Titan,
canonic. It's canon that they don't have any reproductive organs.
they don't.
So.
Ooh, checkmate.
Ha ha.
But as we said in our Attack on Titan recap, eventually Eren Yeager will unite all of the Titans inside of himself, in which case he will grow a Titan-sized dick, and then he will fuck the world with it.
Wow, you are just spoiling it for us.
Anyway, moving on. Yeah, if you want to check out our Attack on Titan recaps with me and Pancake, they are pretty vulgar and crazy, so that's on our iTunes feed. The next anime for hot new releases is Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Go. The sequel is getting a sequel called Sotsu for a summer 2021. So it's going to premiere in July, I guess, and it's going to be distributed by Funimation, and they're also going to stream the anime. There's not like a lot of information that I could see on the article about the actual anime itself, but I do know that this is called Higurashi Go, and now the sequel is called Sotsu, and when you put Sotsu Gyo together, it means graduation. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but they have effectively spelled the word graduation with these. Man, it's so fucking clever. I don't know how they even did that. It's amazing. Next up, I stopped caring about Higurashi a long time ago. The Girl from the Other Side anime adaptation was announced. I don't think I put this on here. Is one of you like particularly hyped about this?
Oh, I saw it earlier today, and I just threw it on the list. I started reading the manga, but I haven't finished it, but I know a lot of people enjoy it, so.
It's really good. It's really good, and there's currently like a 1-episode OVA, I think, from Wit Studio, which looks phenomenal. So if this anime looks anything like that, it's highly recommended. Please check it out. I want more of that, please. Thank you.
So it's there you have it. Also, Wit Studio is like doing a Kickstarter to crowdfund anime, and I fucking hate this.
Yeah,
I
me
fucking
too.
hate it. I'm sorry. You need to just run your studio better, fix the anime studio, or fix the anime industry, get a little bigger of a slice of the pie of the profits of these shows, fucking pay your employees like they're humans, and quit begging and crying and being a little bitch and going, oh my god, I can't afford to make my own anime, so I'm gonna make people pay for it. No, that's not how the world works. I don't crowdfund fucking General Mills' cereal boxes, and you're not gonna crowdfund your fucking anime. Get on with it. Make it happen. This is annoying. Sorry.
Yeah, the fact that they barely like pay their employees, they have no reason to kickstart.
Yeah, it's like you don't even pay your employees, and now you want to ask people for money so that you can like have higher quality anime. I'm sorry, I'm just not down with it. Okay. Lastly, and most exciting, Dr. Stone is getting a sequel series, which is in production. The sequel will continue the story with the Dai Kol Kai Jidai Hen, or the Age of Exploration arc of Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone began serializing in March 2017. It's got about 8 million copies in print. We also are doing recaps of this on our iTunes feed, along with Attack on Titan. I like Dr. Stone a lot. I think it's really cool. And, I don't think the second season was as good as the first season, but I'm hoping that we'll get to some really great stuff here in season 3.
I mean, I've already seen Senku on a ship, so that's got to be great.
A ship?
Ship.
Which he probably built out of, like, sticks and twine. Because he's fucking MacGyver. So that's about it for the hot new anime releases. So we got a lot of great sequels and a new one that's highly anticipated. So just more great stuff to look forward to coming out in the future. And now it's time for Mailbag.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. Bag.
Your lack of dancing disappoints us, Mitsugi.
I've never done the dance ever.
He's got to stay on
Well,
brand.
I think it's time to change.
To be fair, Caroline, you
Anywho.
danced for like 4 minutes coming out of the news break, which is enough dancing for all of us. So you're carrying your
How
weight.
could I not have a bop like that?
Exactly.
You know, many people think that clubs shut down because of the coronavirus. No, they shut down because of me.
Wow.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Okay, so if you would like to send us a mailbag, you can go to www.aaapodcast.com and just hit the mailbag button, just like Alex Winster did here. He says, "Hi, my name is Alex, and I was wondering if any of you guys were into a show called Umaru-chan. I've been going back to it recently, and I've been having fun with it, although I can't find too many people who are familiar with the show as it's kind of obscure. I would also like to know what other shows are similar to it in terms of comedy. But I don't really think Umaru-chan is exactly obscure. I think there's a lot of people who know of Umaru-chan. But nonetheless, Alex, we will do our best to answer the question. Mitsugi, what do you think?"
Mitsugi the Pope does not approve of Moe, and so I have not watched Umaru-chan, nor will I.
That is in character. I have never watched it, and so I don't think I could give a good recommendation based on that. But I do know that on my anime list, there is a recommendations page for each anime listed there, where people give ideas for other shows they might like and why. So I think that might be a good shot for you if you're looking for a large variety of different shows that people also enjoy.
Alex, you come on over to the Discord. I guarantee you many people would love to talk Umaru with you. It's, definitely not the most obscure show. And there's plenty of stuff that's similar in styling comedically that you can check out. From what I've seen, Gabriel Dropout is very similar. Uzaki-chan, Watamote, and Eromanga Sensei also all seem to kind of be in the same wheelhouse of comedy, so hopefully you'll find success with one of those. So check them out.
All right.
And it's time.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Finally time. Last segment of the podcast, our review of Yashahime Princess Half Demon. This is a fall 2020 show. This was passed by you, the listeners, in the listener choice. Mandy did an impression on it in episode 546, and you guys wanted to see probably her and Mitch just blather on about how ridiculous it is, and you're going to get part of your wish. You can watch this on Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu, everywhere. This is all over the place. And I guess in the least amount of spoileristicness as possible, the synopsis of the show, it takes place about 2 decades after the events of Inuyasha, and it follows the daughters of some very prominent characters of the original series. And pretty much everyone in that story gives birth to twins, and our two main characters are the twins of Toa and Setsuna. And essentially at an early age, they are separated across centuries, and then they're kind of reunited in the feudal era, and there's plenty of monsters for them to defeat, and then a quest to restore memories, defeat monsters, collect the 7 Dragon Balls, defeat more monsters, attempt to bond siblings, defeat more monsters, and pad out 24 episodes. So,
and maybe finally achieve a monster head before it disappears.
Maybe,
so they can
possibly.
actually get some cash from it.
This is done by Studio Sunrise, who most recently has done Wave Listen to Me, a lot of Gundam works, Code Geass, Inuyasha, obviously, directed by Teru Sato, who's done like Aikatsu Stars and its sequel and not too much else. So this is actually not based on a manga or source material, just kind of based on the anime that preceded it, and they just kind of kept it going. With all that said, a lot going into this. Mitz, what were your initial expectations with this show?
Oh, I expected it would be bad. You know, I don't know. The scores online weren't very good for it. Inuyasha is pretty well loved, though. You know, I figured it's a show that functions. It's going to, oh, here's this show that's a follow-up to the much-loved Inuyasha with, like, its 5 movies or whatever, and its 200 anime episodes, and everyone loves Kagome, Inuyasha. Sashomaru, he's so fluffy. So, like, back when my anime fandom was, like going to cons and stuff, everyone fucking loved Sashomaru. Sashomaru is, like, every female anime watcher's crush, at least back in the day. Everyone loves fucking Sashomaru. Fluffy, blah. So, you know, I figured this was a show that was going to pretty much function off of the nostalgia from Inuyasha. It's like trying to do its own thing, but at the end of the day, I figured everyone's just going to be waiting around for Sashomaru to show up. So it's about what those were my expectations.
Excellent. And Caroline?
Well, I've never seen Inuyasha. Barely knew what it was about. Just knew Kagome, Inuyasha, Kikyo. Is that her name? Kikyo?
Kikyo.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently everybody dislikes her.
That's
and I can
she
kind of
sucks.
see why.
She sucks.
Yeah, so I honestly had no idea what this was going to be about. I knew that Sesshomaru was a thing, didn't know why. And yeah, I was kind of interested in how I would react to a 24-episode anime based on an anime I've never watched, barely knew about. And yeah, that was basically my expectations.
So I've seen enough of Inuyasha to have an opinion on it. And essentially, I come from 2 camps. First, like, Inuyasha, as Mitt said, is such an important show for people my age, mid to late 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was an onboarding point for so many fans, and it's beloved. And it's definitely counting on you having that nostalgia going into it. That said, characteristic of all Rumiko Takahashi's work, this story really doesn't go anywhere. It's kind of relies on you being endeared to the characters and them staying consistent for the entire run. So, if you don't like those characters, you're in for quite a haul. Going into this, I was expecting to be underwhelmed and let down, but hopefully all the things I didn't like about this show were the same things I didn't like about the original, which would mean that fans of the series would enjoy it. So I was trying to play that card. But that said, spoiler-free recommendation, Mitz, should the folks watch Yashahime?
Not really. I don't really think it's not really worth spending your time on. It's pretty long. It's gonna have another season. So I mean, it's a lot like Inuyasha. I mean, it's a monster of the week, just fucking romp fest through feudal Japan. You know, it's like if you watch Inuyasha, you know that you need to watch like episode 1, 2, and 3, and then maybe 4 and 5, and then there's like 75 episodes of fucking nothing happening. Maybe even more than that. And then I'm only on like episode like 90 of Inuyasha. I mean, that's a lot already, but like there's apparently a ton more. But this is pretty much the same. It's like, oh, a monster attacks. Let's fight the monster, you know, blah blah blah. I actually think this anime has a little bit more story than Inuyasha does. But
Yeah, like for the
Mhm.
first half, it actually did.
Yeah, Inuyasha has
Alright.
almost no storyline at all.
I don't think I
Um,
could possibly survive Inuyasha then.
but ultimately, I think the fans of Inuyasha that want to see more of like Inuyasha and Sashomaru and Kagome, like they're not really in this a lot. So you're going to be disappointed by that. I do think that the show has things that are good about it, but ultimately, this is like a pretty mediocre like fantasy action show, you know. And like I didn't really care for the characters very much, to be if I'm being frank. Like I think that the original Inuyasha cast just walks all over these new characters. They're not. It's not even close. So I probably wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, Inuyasha's long enough that if you watch the whole thing, you probably don't even remember like 25% of the episodes you watched to begin with. So like you could just go rewatch Inuyasha and live the magic all over again, rather than to watch this. So I would say probably pass.
Hmm. Should I go
Caroline?
next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, going into this completely new, don't know anything about the world, don't know anything about the characters really. Um, I guess it was okay. You know, of what I saw of Kagome, I liked Kagome, but you only saw her for freaking 2 minutes in
Mm-hmm.
the entirety of the season episode. And with 24 episodes, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing is achieved. By the end of the season or the end of the 24 episodes, you're wondering what has been achieved. And the answer is almost nothing. Um, so, based on that, easily could have been 12 episodes because, again, nothing was achieved. Um, and just, you don't, I feel like you didn't want to waste your time with this long of an anime unless you absolutely love the characters. You love seeing them just do not really important things, um, then yes, you should watch it. But if you are not really watching the characters you know and love, then there's not really a point. So, no, I guess not.
As
Over
the
two.
character in this very show says, this makes me feel a bit nostalgic somehow. I would say that the style of comedy, the general art direction, and soundtrack match what I remember about the original. I haven't seen it in a while, but I feel like fans of how the original felt will enjoy this. That said, I feel like all the best moments of the show happen when we just get lore or a character from the original show, and that happens barely ever. It's few and far between when we get a character we actually enjoy. And the bridge, the connecting point between that series and this one is very poorly done. And this is it's a kid show at heart. I mean, it's highly expository, filled with, as we said, plotting, monster of the week pacing, nauseating characters, super contrived
Ooh.
plots to get everyone in the same location, and just
They use a literal flea in order to put in exposition where they couldn't
oh,
otherwise.
we're going to talk about that. Fittingly, we're going to exposition about it, but there's very little resolution to any of the questions it raises. And I can't fault the show for not being geared towards an audience that isn't me. And it very much relies on you going with the flow. If you are starting to ask questions and being like, why is this happening? You're going to realize how paper thin the characters and plots are. So I didn't enjoy it. I didn't recommend it. But, for people who, like we said, are absolutely into the world of Inuyasha, you'll get a couple answers about the characters you know and love. And I guess it's worth reading a Wikipedia article about that instead of watching the show, because you'd be in for another 50 plus episode ramp once the series finally gets to an end, whenever that is. So can't really recommend it for anyone.
Damn.
Sad face.
Sad.
Well then. All right. Well, shall we get to our spoilers?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
let's.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
I feel like Caroline has a lot to say about this.
Well, as a person who is not basing anything on nostalgia, I feel like I have an interesting perspective on things.
All right.
Again, nothing happens. By the end of the show, you're wondering, okay, so what have we achieved? And I'll finally reveal this since we got into spoiler territory. Did Sesuna get her memories? Not really. The butterfly came back and I guess touched her forehead. So I guess the idea is that she's dead, but she has her memories now. Her spirit has her memories.
The
So that's
whole
good.
butterfly subplot of like she just can't sleep and therefore she can't dream, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why she can't remember, and that's like the driving thing of everything that her and Toa do is so
It
like a
doesn't make sense.
non-issue that you're always like, why are we doing anything?
Yeah. And then they kind of remember, oh yeah, the butterfly. Let's go find it. And they have nothing to work on, so it's like you don't even know if you're going to find it at all. And even so, they kind of blamed the fact that she doesn't have any demon like power downs. You know how Toa has like on the new moon. They explain the fact that Setsuna doesn't get it because she doesn't have her dreams, and that makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely no sense is like the tagline of this anime. Like
Yes.
things just happen constantly for no reason. Like we get this whole thing at the beginning where they go to the present and they interact with people from this world, and they get bikes and cell phones and instant ramen and pancakes, and then they get zapped back to the past, and that has like zero whiplash or repercussions. Like everyone's just fine with it, everyone's just cool with it. It's only so that they can eat pancakes one episode and being like, hey, look at
Yeah.
people in the present, we have stuff like
With a hot
why
plate, but
why
it's not plugged into anything.
I love
so
pancakes.
what's powering the hot plate?
Pancakes are so good.
Big question.
there's like a cell phone thing that like Morha like is listening to for like multiple episodes, and then one episode like halfway through they're like, oh, a cell phone, what's this? And it's like,
true.
it's been there the whole time and it has full power, and it's like, were you charging it with the bike you were pedaling in the opening? Like
Also, they try to put like a little moral in the story about Toa like being really attached to the cell phone. We've never seen her use the cell phone one time. And also,
Oh.
what's the whole big deal if she has a cell phone? It's not usable. We don't ever see her use it. And that's the moral of the whole story. So like, you know what? I don't think I need this anymore.
there's very little morals in this story. Like we have this like these two sisters, and they really just have no relationship with one another, and this easily could have been like this could have been like for kids, like, hey, treat your sibling with kindness and respect and understanding, but like none of that happens. They just continue to not like one another for 24 episodes. These characters don't grow in any way, and they don't even like fight one another. They have to be like arbitrarily possessed by demons on multiple occasions to be like, oh, we need these characters to clash, but they're too good, so let's just make up an excuse for them to either be in a word tournament where they pretend to fight, this demon possesses them, this demon possesses them, or this demon possesses them, and then they just like go at them with like Pokemon effects where they're like, they all attack a bad guy, and he's like, well, I'm immune to your effects, so they get buffed, and the person's like, well, I'm immune to your poison, so I win. And that's how all the fights go. It's
Yeah, and none of the fights mean anything. Because honestly, they so often just like fly away. I'm like, what was the point of this whole fight?
It's monster of the week, you know. It's
but it's the same monster on multiple weeks sometimes, where he's just like, okay, I'll get you next time, and then he blows
Team
a
Rocket's
cloud.
passing off again.
Exactly, flies away, comes back, and then he's like saying like, I'm the strongest one alive, as he's like fleeing from battle multiple times. Like,
yeah,
I think the biggest problem I have with the show, and this is very much prevalent in kids shows, so it's not like unique to this, but it's the over exposition of everything. And it starts off with every character here gets a bar of text that states their name and their relationship, which is fine. You know, we have a bunch of newcomers to the series, and people can't remember names all that often. It doesn't intrude. That's fine. Like I wasn't expecting it every episode.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It happens. And
but it also happened to be kind of like Boruto's dad effect. Because I know that I don't know the original characters, but I do know that they are the characters you should know. So when it comes up with Hisui's dad, it's kind of funny.
But the biggest problem is just the way that they address people is they constantly say one another's names so often. Like there's a cat demon named Killua, and they repeat it like 6 times in 10 seconds to make you know that that's Killua. And they'll be like, I am riding Killua. Or it's even worse is mid-battle, they'll be like stopping a fight to explain everyone's like powers that are going on. And I get, you know, they need to make it clear for people, but this demon will like eat something, and he'll like constantly be sucking in air. And one person will be like, I had this Demon Slayer poison. And the next person will be like, you should use the Demon Slayer poison to poison that demon. He's like, here's my extra stash of Demon Slayer poison. And he runs up to the person and he throws it into the demon's mouth. And the demon will be like, what did I swallow? Could it have been Demon Slayer poison? And then Tor and Setsuna will be like, look it, I guess he doesn't like the Demon Slayer poison very much. And she'll be like, wow, that Demon Slayer poison's really affecting him. And it's like, I get it. I get it. I get that it's Demon Slayer poison. And maybe it's just worse listening to the dub of it, where that's a little unmasked by subtitles, but still. Or as Caroline mentioned, this like flea god, once again, that jumps in and is like, I need to tell you 3 minutes about how her fire sword works. And just like, in a show where they spend so much time on this and not anything else, it just feels like I wasted as much time as I just did explaining it. So I'm sorry.
I mean, I did kind of like the flea. He was kind of funny sometimes, but yeah, when you have a literal character pop out of nowhere when a question is arising, it's a bad sign.
I mean, the original Inuyasha is not that different, you know. They're constantly like announcing attacks, explaining things while they're fighting, you know, hyper redundant.
The reason why I liked Toa is that she didn't have a attack name. She just slices things, and I appreciated that.
Did any of their attacks ever get through? Did anyone ever be like, Storm of Shadows, do the thing, and the bad guy doesn't immediately just like block it away? Like, was there one instance where that ever worked?
They still have
maybe like once or twice, but rarely.
They still have the flea in Inuyasha that explain Kagome. Kagome.
I only heard Inuyasha. I only heard 3 Inuyasha Kagomes, and they were all in the first episode. Like I actually had a tracker set up. I'm like, I'm gonna count how many times he like says like Kagome, and he didn't do it at all because he wasn't in the show, because no one in the show was from the original.
If I can go back to the list of things that were not achieved, it would be Rin did not wake up at all. You don't see Kagome or Inuyasha get out of their predicament. And Sesshomaru is still a bad dad, so...
Well, this is not... I mean, you know, even Inuyasha's original season all started with 1 season. And then 9 seasons later, you have 200 episodes. So this baby... Listen, if anybody can make an anime like this last 200 episodes, it's Numiko Takahashi for sure. So
exactly.
Her anime are what? They're like... It seems like all the shit she's done are very super long.
Yep.
I don't know. This anime just feels like Inuyasha all over again. Sometimes, in some ways, like there's like Shippo's not there, but there's like another flying, fluffy thing that's basically Shippo. Shippo's one of the main characters from Inuyasha. It's like a little fox demon that can transform into like flying things.
It's the Killua. It's the OG Killua.
Yeah. Yep.
I see.
Yeah, and you know and in this it's not the Shikonju jewel, it's the fucking rainbow pearls. You know, it's a lot of the same Inuyasha stuff. It's the same tree, it's the same families, the same monsters more or less. You know, it's just more Inuyasha. But the problem is that like people watch Inuyasha, they're watching this and they're going, "Oh, well, I just can't wait for Inuyasha to show up. I can't wait for Sesshomaru to show up." And like Sesshomaru does show up, but he's not really a main part of the anime. I don't think he really shows up at all until like 3/4 of the way through it, and it's just like I don't know. The main characters of this just aren't enjoyable to me. Like Setsuna is a nasty, mean girl for about 65% of the anime.
You don't understand this world, Toa.
She's like, get the fuck away from me! I hate you. It's just like
she's such a hard ass that
you're too nice, Toa.
She's just not nice. She's just not enjoyable.
But she plays the violin. Doesn't that mean that she's like more complex?
It's fucking bullshit. This girl learned how to play the violin in like 12 minutes. Fucking bro. As a musician, I know how fucking ridiculous that is. And then they're like carrying this violin around while they do battle. Like, do you realize how delicate a violin is? And a violin is the kind of thing that you like when you put it down when you're done. You like gently put it down. You're not like carrying it around fucking feudal Japan. But that's aside the point. You know,
I was just begging them to get the freaking dream butterfly so Setsuna could like have a personality or anything.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you forgot your entire past, let's say from the age of 0 to 4, which is not much I would guess anyways. Let's say hypothetically you forgot it and you met someone who's like, hey, I'm your long lost sibling, and then you go on adventures with them for months and hang out and protect one another. Like, irregardless if you were like siblings, you'd probably like start to develop, just a bond or friendship or some emotions. But she's like adamant about like not developing at all, as with all the other characters. They just don't change.
I didn't like.
I mean, I feel like they had a little bit of a bond by the end. I mean, she did call her sister by the end of that, so good.
I didn't like. I didn't like Toa very much. I find her character design awful.
I kind of liked her.
I think that Pancake, if I recall, her exact quote was that she said Toa looks like a tampon.
I found that in the notes, and I couldn't help but laugh while we were doing it.
Because she's entirely white from head to toe, and then she has like this red splotch on her head. She looks like a fucking tampon. And she's just, I don't know. I just don't like her design at all. And
also, bold of her to wear a white suit in feudal Japan while they're rolling around in the dirt every episode.
Honest to God, I thought Moroha was the best thing about this anime. She was by far the most enjoyable. She's spunky. She's fun, And honestly, I think I would have liked this anime a lot better if it had been like Moroha clowning around with Inuyasha,
So Moroha is a genuine idiot because at the age of 11, she doesn't know left from right.
Well, she might be an idiot, but she's definitely more enjoyable to watch than these other two fucking girls. The one girl's obsessed with Setsuna, who hates her. Like, get the fuck away from me. But yet she still like loves Setsuna. It's her sister, right? But like, and then Setsuna is nasty. So it's like, she's not nice. It's like I get it. You hate everyone, But
I would say, while I didn't like any of them, Moroha was probably the best of the three.
Yeah.
Yep. The rouge lipstick thing was pretty dumb.
Yeah, because she kept on having the same speech, and then like, I put this rouge on, and I've become Benny Yasha, destroyer of lands. Like, yes, we get the point, Moroha. After like the 5th time she does it, and then I just completely broke down when I don't remember what character it was, but they knew what the rouge does. And like, are you gonna use that rouge, become Benny Yasha? And she still does the speech after that. Like, yes, even the character knows this.
The only good part about the speech and everything and that whole thing and the flea dynamic is, like, obviously she like puts on this like lipstick, becomes like empowered, and then the flea guy's like, ooh, her blood's like extra supercharged, and he gets someone, he's like, yes, extra delicious. One time she's like, I'm gonna put my rouge on, and he like zips out of nowhere, sucks her blood, and he's like, wait, you didn't do it yet. And she's like, nope. And he's like, well, okay. And then like sulks away. Like, that was it. That was the big climax of his character.
Anyway, it was just not. It's not what I wanted. It was about what I expected, but it's not really what I wanted ultimately. It's, I don't really see the point of like the rouge lipstick crap. It's like, whatever happened to just having a cool sword or a cool bow.
Of which she has both.
It's just fucking dumb. Like, what?
Yes, that's the show.
What fucking character puts on lipstick and that's like her power?
And then falls asleep.
You're in fucking feudal Japan, okay? Like, they don't even have lipstick. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And but
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I liked the show a few episodes with Moroha when the other two girls weren't around, and I liked the show when the old characters came back. Like, the first episode was good. The first episode felt like an old school Inuyasha episode. And then Miroku, of all characters, shows up like more than a few times. And then like Sango's brother shows up, I think. It's like more than a few times, and that was all fine. And Kilala's in it, and I think Inuyasha shows up at least once, and Sesshomaru's in it a little bit. But like, so I enjoyed those moments the best. I thought the backstory with like the half demon camp or whatever was pretty good. With the little orphanage that had the force field around it, I thought that little side story was pretty good, which is, I guess, Setsuna's backstory. But I don't know, it didn't do much for me. It was easy to watch. It was dubbed.
Sorry.
The dubbing wasn't that great though.
I just felt that most of the fights were boring. And also, I found that the main three were simultaneously weak and too powerful because I think, as you might have mentioned, they will throw off an attack and it's almost always blocked and always does nothing. And yet they still beat every character. They're still going head to head with, the god of all, demons, Kirin Maru. And like they're going head with him and they're holding him off. But I just find that unbelievable because they seem pretty weak. And also, I found it strange that Toa was able to keep up with Moroha and Setsuna, despite the fact she's been in the human world most of her life and doesn't know how to fight with a sword. At least, not that it has been shown. But she seems to pick it up very easily. Like, even compared to Setsuna, who's been fighting with her staff for, 10 years.
Yeah, it's it doesn't look great either. A lot of stiff movements, a lot of like anatomical breakdowns, a lot of speed lines in the show. Nothing egregious, just like adequate. There's a couple kicks and like characters getting sent off into the void where it's a little funny, but I'd say the last couple episodes really they saved their budget for it and it looked all right. Music wise, I thought the first OP was like the whole show very campy, but honestly, you throw some like no nos in the OP and I'm down. Like that part I was okay with. The ED was really swell. The second set of OP and ED I thought was really bad. So I don't know, like it sounded all right. Like visually was fine. Like Mitt said, it was an easy watch and it had some nice callbacks that were the highlights, but it just felt like a chore at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about how I feel, and I won't be watching the second season unless it gets picked from the listeners. So, and it's like it's gonna live in the shadow of Inuyasha. Like I don't think anybody's really gonna watch this years from now. Everyone's just gonna go watch Inuyasha, and rightfully so. So that's about it. That's about it. Is what it is.
I've got nothing else.
I feel like we should talk about the Rainbow Pearls just a little bit because that was kind of like a main plot point. But the thing is that nothing much happened with them. And like they say that, oh yeah, it boosts your demon power. But I'm like looking at all these fights and I'm like thinking to myself, there really is no difference between a demon with a pearl and a demon without one.
Yeah, it was whack. That's all I got to say about the inclusion of that plot point.
I just don't see why they don't. I don't know why they don't just. They ought to just stick to the Shiko and Jewel. I get. By the way, this anime has spoilers for Inuyasha overall because I haven't finished Inuyasha, and there's definitely things in this anime that I was like, oh, well, I guess that's gonna happen. Oh, or I guess that's gonna happen. So like I'm not gonna say them here because we're not doing no spoilers for Inuyasha itself, but you're definitely gonna get some spoilers. So it is what it is. But like the Shiko and Jewel, for example, it's like you already have the whole thing. Why? Who gives a fuck about the rainbow pearls? So I don't know.
Also, that part where Toa basically gives a
Riku
undecided villain the freaking jewel, or sorry, not the jewel, the pearl.
Well, he's smexy.
And I'm like thinking to myself, how stupid are you? And she's like basically like, what's this? My heart is beating so fast. Oh my god, does this mean I like him? And I'm like,
there's
I
no
know
relationship.
You're a 14-year-old girl, but come on.
There's no relationship in Inuyasha that doesn't have like a substantial age gap between the characters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would say this anime is probably about a. I'd say it's like 2.5 filler episodes out of 5, probably for me. I mean, it is what it is. To the right audience, I think that it could be fun, but ultimately, like the story is really weak, and it's tough living in the shadow of a giant like Inuyasha, and the characters just don't stack up.
Was in my head, I was like, for fans of the series, for people who really enjoyed the original and want to see where those characters they know and love like ended up, I could see this being like a 2.5 to a 3, depending on that. But like for me personally, I found very little to enjoy about this. I give this, I'm gonna say 1 random comet that pops out a meteor at an exact location out of 5.
I'm gonna shit on your face.
Like seriously, like how does it fall at this exact? Oh my god, I'm sure it's just a big magnet. Never mind me.
Also, a gigantic, like, world-ending event that they hardly spend any focus on. That does not make any difference in the entirety of these 24 episodes.
How about you, Caroline?
There were a couple things to like, but for me, who hasn't watched Inuyasha, that doesn't really care about most of the characters in it, and it really, really felt like a chore to watch. Like, I was just like, okay, time to watch another 4 episodes of this damn show. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this 1.5 Toa tampons out of 5.
Wow. There you go. There you have it.
Excellent. Well, that was our show. Hopefully you enjoyed it more than we enjoyed Yashahime, but we had fun talking about it nonetheless. Highly encourage all of you guys, join the Discord, super happening, join Facebook, it's pretty cool. Follow us on Twitter. The podcast is at AAA Podcast. Mitsugi is at Pope Mitsugi. I am at Macy Pacey. And like I said before, please join the Discord. Like, really, that's where all the cool kids are hanging out. We have so many clubs and activities. Manga Club on March 31st is doing Onani Master Kurosawa, volumes 1 through 4 at 10 p.m. EDT. So come over and check it out. What's Anime Club up to?
Anime Club is watching Princess Principal, and we're discussing it on April 7th at 10 p.m. EDT. I've watched it before. It's really good. It's really fun. So come and join us.
It's a blast, all those clubs. Find us at aapodcast.com. Find all the links. Do all the stuff. Join us on Twitch. We'll see you next week with our review of Dr. Stone, Season 2. Till then, see ya.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.